So just to start it off, I mean, obviously everyone is dealing with the coronavirus right now, the global pandemic, of course. So how are you holding up? How are you handling it right now?
Well, I mean, it could be worse. I'm currently now in Big Bear up at Abel Sanchez gym, the Summit. So, it's a nice sunny day. It's beautiful up here. I have the gym for a couple of hours training every day. So it could be worse. We're still practicing social awareness and staying inside mostly. But as you can see, there's not much people here, which is a good thing.
I've been up to Big Bear to work with Abel Sanchez to see him training. Of course, Gennady Golovkin trained there for a long time. It's a very secluded and peaceful place. Is that a good place to be also just mentally because you're away from everything, you're with nature? Is that a good place to be right now with everything that's going on?
Absolutely. Just like you say, we are away from the worst. We are pretty shield up here, and also coming from Norway, I love the nature here, the mountains, the trees, and it's like it's a little bit like being at home. The best part is, of course, that we can still be at our gym and we can go out running and take a walk without meeting a lot of people. There are not much people here. It's very closed off.
Yeah, if you've ever been up to Big Bear, it's even when you get to LA, it takes a few hours to get up the mountain and get there. It's a very secluded place. So, are you thinking about, with everything that's going on, are you thinking about your next fight right now? Are you trying to just practice social distancing and get through this period first? What's going on in terms of your mindset and in terms of your training camp?
Well, first of all, it was, of course, the friends and family at home. Knowing they were safe, I could start thinking about my next steps, which will, of course, be to stay in the gym, stay fit, and stay ready. But there's also a lot of other, this is a very special time, and we have to change our minds around that fact that everything is going to be very different in the future for the way a lot of people conduct business, the way people are working, the way social media will work. So I was a social media dinosaur until this coronavirus hit. So now I'm actually trying to teach myself a little bit on the social media, the web, because in the future, I think we see a lot of businesses are going to just move over there.
And in terms of your next fight, I know you said you're staying busy on social media, but you were scheduled to fight on April 17th, right? That fight has now been pushed back. Is there any new date, or is that just pushed back until all of this gets figured out?
Well, I think, we are in the same boat as everyone else. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't have any time frame yet. We just have to go to the gym, stay active, stay healthy. And I think as a athlete, you're also a little bit more prepared mentally to do this. As a fighter, this is not the first time, as everybody in the boxing business know. It's not the first time a fight's getting pushed or canceled. Fighters been waiting maybe a year for fights that don't happen. So the mental part is very much there. So I think for athletes, this is a situation we're a little bit better to cope with than the average person. Like we are used to getting sick, or anybody getting sick around us, we are put in quarantine. I don't shake hands. The last weeks before fight, I was in a camp with Vladimir Klitschko. He doesn't shake hands at all. He just stopped doing that. So I think we're a little bit more prepared, but of course it's a very unusual situation.
And your fight that was supposed to be on April 17th, it was against Jessica McCaskill. Now, you're, of course, undisputed champion at welterweight. You hold all the belts, you have for some time. Your opponent, McCaskill, has 2 belts at 140. So if that fight comes together, which we hope it does later this year, what weight class would that fight be at?
Well, we agreed to go down to 145, I believe. And I'm very disappointed of that because that was a huge fight. Well, women boxing all over, it's exploding right now. You have Katie Taylor and Serrano was going up against each other, and a lot of other great fights coming up for women boxing. So that day, for this to happen, it was quite a blow for this sport that took 100 years just to get to the Olympics. But like I say, you just have to mentally prepare for better times now.
And it was said that if that fight had happened, you could fight Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano. Do you still want to fight those names maybe in 2020, depending on how everything shakes out?
Yeah, of course. Now we have to see what's happening. But I hope and I think these fights will happen. Me versus Michalski for sure, and Katie Taylor versus Serrano for sure. And the winner of those 2 fights will meet each other and will crown the best pound for pound #1.
And I know that recently on Twitter you said Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, they're both legends, that you would love to challenge yourself against either of them. And 2 days ago, or actually yesterday, Clarissa Shields responded to that, and she said, I'm going to read it to you. She said, I mean, of course, Cecilia would want to fight against girls who have never boxed over 140 pounds. She hasn't agreed to take a fight against me at 154 or possible 147. I wonder why. So that was Clarissa Shields' tweet. What is your response to Clarissa Shields?
Well, I have 2 responses. First of all, she blocked me a long time ago. So she, so all the accusations she's coming on Twitter, I don't have, I cannot defend myself against them, or I just know that I just hearing from everyone that she's talking, saying some very bad stuff about me. I hope she will give me a chance to be able to answer them directly to her and on Twitter. I don't think that's very brave to do it the way she does it right now. And when it comes to the fight, it was never about the weight. It was never about the weight, the venue, or anything. It was very easy. I got a better offer from DAZN and took it. The offer from Showtime was actually the 3rd best offer I got. So I had the best offer was definitely from DAZN. I had an offer from Norway to fighting there too, which was also a very good offer. And then Showtime's offer. You know, she can huff and puff all she wants on Twitter, but if she wants this fight, she needs to go back to her bosses. She needs to go back to Showtime, and that's where it's going to happen.
And we know that recently promoters have been able, and networks have been able to work together. We just saw that with Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder in the rematch. We saw Fox and PBC come together with Top Rank and ESPN. So it has happened on a high level. So assuming that it could happen, right? Let's say that the Zone can work together with Showtime and somehow maybe a joint promotion. You are the welterweight undisputed champion. She's undisputed at 160. You said weight isn't an issue, but I know that, of course, because of the difference, it has to play a factor, right? What weight would you feel comfortable fighting Claressa Shields at, assuming the promoter network issues were able to get worked out?
Well, right now it's Showtime hasn't didn't come to us with any offer that really made us take this any step further. So, you know, they it's been very, very quiet from them. I don't think they will. I don't think the financial terms are there for Showtime right now, to be 100% honest. I just have to say it the way it is.
And so basically, bottom line, you're saying for that fight to happen, Clarissa Shields would have to maybe leave Showtime and come to another platform to make it happen?
Well, that's of course very drastic, but what I'm saying is this is up to the Showtime executives. This is not happening by Twitter or anywhere else. If she wants this fight, she needs to get back to Showtime and to her to those who pays her bills there and say, you know what, I want this, and you got to make this happen. Right now, you know, I have a good deal with DAZN. My fight is shown all over the world. It's also sold to all the Nordic markets, and it's a very good deal for me, financial, and also the fact that my fight is shown on a global scale. It's shown in America, it's shown in Europe, and it's shown also in the Nordic countries. And I welcome Showtime to come and try and top that offer for sure.
And last question about Clarissa Shields before we move on. What do you think about her personally? We know she's a great fighter, undefeated, as you are undefeated as well. What do you think about her personally, and why do you think she blocked you on Twitter?
Well, I don't know, to be 100%, because we actually, I mean, we started out pretty cool, you know. We had some good exchanges. We were supporting each other. She even sent me some text messages, inbox, you know, hey, you need some support here, and I texted her back. So we had actually have a lot of contact, which has been very positive. And then suddenly this happens, and I don't know, I can't explain it, but at least, you know, unblock me and give me a chance to, you know, answer your allegations.
And so just moving on, if you do get the fight against McCaskill or whoever it may be, I'm looking at it here, some of the notes I had.
Yeah, it will be McCaskill for sure, next fight.
And not to ever look past an opponent, but if you were to get past her, you would break the streak that was held by Joe Louis, and that was 25 consecutive world title defenses. So A, were you aware of that? And B, if you are able to do that, what would that mean for you?
But I think it's important not to think too much about that. Like you say, never look past the fighter, and McCaskill is a very strong fighter. We saw what she did to Katie Taylor, and I don't remember how many fights she had. She did not have many fights, professional fights before that. Maybe 3, 4, 5 fights before that, and she gave Katie Taylor a hell of a run. So I'm not taking her for granted at all. If this should happen, it would be huge. It would be history, and I would love to do that.
And let's see if that happens. There's been so many good fights in women's boxing, especially recently. A lot of stars like yourself, Claressa Shields, we mentioned. Ellen Sederus upset Alicia Napoleon recently. Franchon Cruz DeZern. There's so many names. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. In terms of women's boxing, are you happy with where it is right now in terms of the mainstream? As you said, it's on DAZN, so people can see it in many different countries. Are you happy with the state of women's boxing, or do you want to see anything changed?
Well, I am. You have to look at this over time, because for 100 years there were nothing happening, you know, and then suddenly, boom, 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 we got to the Olympics. We got. I got to sell out venues in Norway, 10,000 people. We got the biggest American television station, and this has happened in a couple of years. So the wave that women boxing is on now, the timing with the coronavirus couldn't be worse.
And that's probably true for so many things right now. So in terms of, we were talking about the timing and women's boxing. I worked at HBO for a long time, and I know that you were able to fight on the last card on HBO Boxing, right? So what did that mean for you? Did you take honor in that, in terms of HBO Boxing had been around for so long, had such a historic history? and one of the last cards featured your fight. What did that mean for you?
Oh, that was huge for me. That was definitely one of the biggest moments I had, because that was another groundbreaking. That was another groundbreaker in women's history, and I think also that led, when the other TV shows saw that HBO was airing women boxing, I think that also did a lot positive. So I'm just being part of this area is amazing.
And in your illustrious career, I'm going to read this off. You were the longest reigning female boxing champion, the longest reign as a 4-belt undisputed champion, and the most bouts undefeated by a female world champion. So those are some amazing stats. You've been boxing professionally since 2007. You're 38 years old now. So how much do you have left? How much more do you want to continue in boxing?
Well, I had a couple of fights in mind before I was going to retire. The deal with DAZN definitely gave me a lot of motivation. The chance to be in a ring with some of the best female fighters in the world, like Michalski, Serrano, Katie Taylor, maybe even Cyborg, has definitely give me a lot of inspiration. Now I don't know how long this coronavirus will take, this lockdown. So, I just have to see what, I have to see fight for fight, and I have to see my health, my body, how everything feels. But right now I feel great, and I'm in a great box camp. So I feel I have some more fights left in me.
And you mentioned Cyborg. Do you think that that's a fight that we could see, you versus Cyborg?
That's also possible. Considering she's on DAZN too, she's also interesting in doing this. She's very interested in doing this crossover with the MMA and boxing. She saw the hype McGregor and Mayweather got. She knows it's going to be a huge deal. And like I said, she being in DAZN too, it's absolutely possible to get this done. But first, my first goals are, of course, getting past Michalski and then taking on the winner of Serrano and Katie Taylor.
And if you were to fight Cyborg, it sounds like that would be in a boxing match. Is there any chance that maybe after that you would step into the cage and fight her in MMA, or would it only be boxing?
Well, I think it would be boxing, because doing MMA would be starting to work on grappling for me in the age of 38. That's very optimistic.
And you mentioned the names that you'd like to fight next. Is there anything more you want to achieve in terms of milestones? We talked about Joe Louis's record. We've talked about all the records that you hold. Are there any records or belts or anything like that you want to achieve, or right now is it just looking at those top opponents?
I think I have achieved most records you can achieve. I was the first to have the ring belt. I was the first undisputed. I have hit the million mark in viewers 3 times. I sold out 10,000 tickets times 2 in Norway. For me right now, it's all about who's in the other corner of the ring. My motivation is purely in the sport now.
And have you thought at all about what you want to do post-career? Do you want to stay involved in boxing, maybe as a trainer or as an announcer, or do you have other plans of things that you'd like to do after your boxing career?
I just have to say, hi guys, I see all your messages. I'm just in the middle of an interview. Oh yeah, definitely. Professional boxing and sport and yeah, sport in generally has been my life, since I was a little girl. I would definitely continue doing that. And in what kind of role, I don't know yet. I don't think automatically top fighters will be great trainers, but I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm just having a lot of other projects I would like to work on a little bit after my career, and that is a little bit out of the gym too. You know, I think I deserve that after a long life in this game. It's been fun, but it's been rough.
In terms of other projects, I know that your background, you were in an orphanage in Colombia, and at 2 years old, you were adopted, and then you started combat sports at 15, and now you have the First Lady Primary School, right? So I'm sure that that's very important for you to work with underprivileged kids. Is that one of the causes that I'm sure you're going to continue into life after boxing as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm in a very good situation. I love my work, and I also am so excited to the day I'm done, the day I really can sit down and say, you know what, I'm done. I have done what I need to do, and I can go over to my other projects and focus on them. Being and working in Uganda has been extremely important to me, and I can't wait to get back to that work. That is one of my projects for sure. So you know, I'm really looking forward to that too. I wish I could spend more time there. I miss them every day.
And just to close it out, I mentioned that you started combat sports at the age of 14. Did you ever think, you know, we talked about all of the things that you've accomplished in this sport. It's been an unbelievable career so far. Did you ever think, you know, that you could accomplish all of these amazing goals in the sport of boxing?
Well, I think, what can I say? You know, my life hasn't been like you know, I was born, if I wasn't adopted to Norway, I could be in Colombia having nothing and grow up poor there. Instead, I grew up in Oslo, Norway, having everything I needed. So I'm just saying, life is weird, and I'm just loving and appreciating everything right now.
And you mentioned all the fans in the comments. So just to close it out, obviously, we are all going through a tough time right now in terms of what's going on in the world. Any final words of encouragement to your fans, or anything you want to say to your fans and supporters?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, this is a tough time, but we're definitely going to go through it. Just stay positive and stay active, and and stay inside.
Cecilia Breakhus, thank you so much. Good luck up in Big Bear. I know you're training, and hopefully we'll see that fight with McCaskill sometime soon, and then the eventual matchups with Katie Taylor, Serrano, or even Claressa Shields down the line. I know I'm looking forward to those. Thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.